Excited to get back in this, a little bit shorter week in front of us. Marquette and Baylor, like Diane said, two top 20 teams. And, Marquette is a very experienced team. They're coming back off of a great win at BYU. It was a top 10 team. They went out there to Utah and hammered them pretty good, and Baylor, who we know, the team that beat us at their place last year in 5, and they just had a great week, taking out a ranked Creighton team and probably two of the top players in the country. We'll see this week, one for each team. Tremendous outside hitters. So excited to get back to work and play our opening matches in the field house.
Questions? Brian?
Who are those top players you're talking about for Marquette and Baylor?
Yeah, it's. They're players that have been around a long time. Allie Barber, 6'5" outside hitter that can hit all the way along the net, and she can wreak havoc. She's kind of their Jonathan Taylor. She gets the ball an awful lot, and a lot of times it doesn't matter what kind of defense that you've got in front. She finds a way to score, and their entire team is coming off the first week hitting for a very high percentage, and then Presley is a kid for Baylor, very very springy, not as tall of a player as Barber is, but very springy and just kind of hits at incredible angles, plays above the block, and she's a kid that I think she had 98 kills against us last year. Certainly feels that way, and she's just a ridiculous athlete, and so we'll have our hands full from both those guys.
Tom?
Kelly, what does it say about your team, if anything, that you are sweeping people this year and not giving up any sets?
Well, it's if you can ask me that question in November, I'll feel pretty good. But after week one, I don't know. It's I think early on, so much of it is a little bit more about, you see the teams that are pretty good serving and passing teams do pretty well early on, and teams that are pretty experienced that do well early on. I think that kind of fits us. We're a team that's been a lot of players that have been together for a couple of years now, so you don't give away as many points as people that are coming together that are newer, and and I thought we served the ball really really well. We put pressure on Florida State and North Carolina this weekend. I thought our serving was really really dynamic. But we're going up a class this weekend, and so. We'll see how it goes after that.
Brian?
Kelly, what, if anything, do you read into Minnesota losing to Florida State this past weekend?
Probably not a whole lot. There's every year there's craziness in the opening week, and that's not to say that that's crazy. It's Florida State's a pretty talented team. A really really good blocking team, and then a right side that played for Minnesota last year, and I think she probably had a little bit extra juice in the tank going up against her old teammates, and she went off on them, and and they were playing with an extra spirit, and but Minnesota's got a team that returns an awful lot of talent from a year ago, and so I think when all is said and done, they'll be right there at the end. But Florida State's no slouch either.
Kelly, you said you guys are going to be moving up a class this week. How important is it the confidence your team picks up, winning those matches on the road to come back home and play top 20 opponents?
It's the confidence, I think, is you're hoping to build as you go through the year, not just with your wins, but also how you're learning. And I think That opening weekend, I was almost as excited about getting back here after our matches, going into our first match, that I was actually playing. I think sometimes coaches, the players, they're definitely excited to play an opponent, in any sport. But I think so much as coaches, you're not quite sure what you have until you start playing somebody. And I was really excited to get back and start watching film. Before we even went into that match, I knew that we'd learned so much about us. And so the confidence that you get also is from the learning process, going back, seeing what you can get better at, and then getting back in the gym and actually working through those things. But, when you're playing an offense like Marquette and an offense like Baylor, certainly you want to go into those matches with as much confidence as possible, because they're awfully good. These are two teams that that could, by the end of the year, that could be knocking on Final Four doors. Certainly regional final types of talented teams, and so to be able to get that in week 2 is a great challenge.
Brian?
Besides the serving, what did you like from your squad this past weekend?
It's what I liked is I think every single player that were in the matches are going to be able to come back and feel like they did a lot of really good things, and and each of them will have things that they've got to get better at. That sounds pretty generic, but it was certainly the case